All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for a video keeping you informed on Bitcoin, on cryptocurrency every day. My name's Austin. Today I want to share with you Apple. The company is now recommending altcoins. The SEC has just shared a report detailing their priorities for cryptocurrencies and digital assets into 2020. And of course, like always, our top story of the day: the world's first blockchain-powered phone arrives at the Consumer Electronics Show, one of the most prominent electronics conferences in the world, arrives there of 2020, indicating potentially what this next decade could bring for electronics. So let's talk about it. Meet Bob, the world's first blockchain-powered smartphone. On the first CES Consumer Electronics Show event that is taking place in this decade, the world is set to witness the unveiling of the world's first blockchain-powered smartphone, BlockOn, or Bob. It has been recognized as a CES 2020 Innovation Award honoree in the CES 2020 Innovation Awards. Now, what is Bob, and what does Bob mean to you? Will Bob be responsible for putting a Bitcoin or a few Satoshis on all of your friends' phones in this new decade? Well, BlockOn, or Bob, is a Singapore-based blockchain startup, PundiX's flagship smartphone product, which was first introduced, and this is how you may remember this from back in 2018. First introduced as the X phone at the now historic Bali Blockchain Summit back in October of 2018. During this summit, PundiX demoed the world's first ever phone call made over the blockchain. Interesting. So this is different than, for example, HTC's Exodus smartphone, which comes with a cryptocurrency wallet. You can hold your Bitcoin as well as it runs a full Bitcoin node. This one specifically, you're making calls over the blockchain. Now, to me, that's kind of a double-edged sword because blockchains in general, blockchains are slower and clunkier and decentralized, ideally. And they need to be a little clunkier because, in turn, we want them to be immutable and censorship resistant. And of course, the trade-off comes, well, do you want it to be faster and more centralized, or more decentralized and more censorship resistant? So what are the details, and would your friend, would you, me, would we want or need to make a call or a text over the blockchain? What are the benefits? To ensure the utmost privacy of its users, PundiX created a special operating system for Bob called FX, or Function X OS. This operating system empowers Bob users, possibly you, to access the Function X ecosystem. Thus, every call, text, or action made online, either through a browser or an app, is decentralized. Now the question is, how decentralized? Well, I'm going to find this information out exactly, so make sure you subscribe. The minute I find out, I will make a video. But it's interesting because each Bob functions as a node. And if every Bob has a node, that would suggest that would be pretty decentralized to me. Each Bob functions as a node, and any action that takes place within the blockchain mode of this operating system does not require a centralized service provider or carrier. Hence, the more Bobs that have been deployed in the world would mean a stronger decentralized Function X ecosystem. This is pretty neat. It's going to be interesting to hear what the buzz is after the presentation of this Bob PundiX smartphone. But in general, this is needed. In a direct quote from their chief legal officer, "We believe the data you have should be yours and yours alone." So whether it's this one or another blockchain phone in the future that reaches the masses, PundiX right now is a big head start. Let me know what you think involving Bob. But next piece of news: the SEC Examination Office gets specific about crypto priorities in 2020. So did you see this? This just came out. This channel is bringing it to you first, and it's an insight on the priorities that the SEC has to examine in 2020. Now, digital assets is mentioned here. And let's just first check out Bitcoin. This is 28 pages on their priorities. Bitcoin is mentioned 0 times. Crypto or cryptocurrency is mentioned 0 times. But digital assets is mentioned a total of 6 times in their information security sector. So let's jump right down right now and find out what their plans are for digital assets into this next decade. The digital assets market has grown rapidly and presents various risks, including for retail investors who may not adequately understand the differences between these assets and more traditional products. Due to these risks, the OCIE will continue to identify and examine SEC-registered market participants engaged in this space. Now, the OCIE, that is the Office of Compliance Inspections and Examinations. And according to them, these are the 6 aspects that they'll be pursuing, they'll be examining in 2020 for digital assets. Number 1 is investment suitability. Number 2 is portfolio management and trading practices. Number 3 is safety of client funds and assets. Number 4 is pricing and valuation. 5, effectiveness of compliant programs and controls. And 6, supervision of employee outside business activities. So in general, the SEC, it looks like they're saying they will continue to crack down and make sure it's safe for the average consumer, you, me, into 2020. And this is nothing new. This is what they said very clearly back in 2017. It seems that it's still going to be a priority. But what's interesting to me is it made the table of contents. Digital assets is now near the top of the list, watermarked for things to examine in 2020. Pretty interesting. Like the video if you appreciate me finding these things for you, pointing them out. But next piece of news. Apple, the company, recommends Brave browser as one of the new apps we love. So if you are an Apple fan, you might have seen this advertisement if you were specifically perusing the Hong Kong App Store. But let's check this out. Apple yesterday recommended the privacy-focused, blockchain-friendly browser Brave as one of its new apps we love in its Hong Kong App Store. Keep in mind, they're not just recommending whichever company pays more that happens to be based in some sort of cryptocurrency or altcoin, because this recommendation of Brave came just days after Apple pressured cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase to remove the ability to browse for decentralized apps from its Coinbase Wallet iOS app. So they're putting pressure on Coinbase's app, but they're saying, hey, we love Brave browser. Brave is also, much like Coinbase, working on its own crypto wallet and became the first browser to recommend its users to utilize the Ethereum-based browser interface MetaMask. At least that's Brave browser's claim to fame. This is interesting. New York's lawmakers are pushing its own cryptocurrency. I didn't believe it till I read it, but this just came out January 8th. The US has resisted the urge to create its own digital currency, but things are starting to change, at least on a very, very local level. Lawmakers in the city of New York are proposing a new form of hyper-localized digital cash that would run on a peer-to-peer payments platform called an inclusive value ledger. This proposition comes from the New York State Assembly member Ron Kim, Senator Julia Salazar, and Cornell law professor Robert Hawkett, all these people who, in true crypto form, published a white paper to elaborate on this idea in November of 2019. So this is very real. This would be a very hyper-localized cryptocurrency. But I guess my question is, why would we need one? Why can't we just use credit cards if you're in New York? Well, according to the white paper, it comes with crypto's common claims of cutting out the middleman. So they're claiming this too will cut out the middleman. The only question is, in this case, who might these middlemen be? Surely not the state of New York itself. We need more information on this, but keep in mind this isn't a truly decentralized cryptocurrency as we know it. Well, yes, the payments are peer-to-peer and feeless, no less, but instead of a truly distributed ledger, the ledger would be maintained by a New York master account administrator and a master account, which can take the form either of the public fisc of the government unit in question or of a legal trust settled and administered by that unit. So this would be very permissioned, very controlled, and this is proposed right now. So we'll see. Whatever happens, New York definitely is looked upon in America, and what happens in New York could happen to the rest of the states soon after. But I'll keep you updated. All right, that's the news today. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. It would help the channel grow. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow.